Hi, my name is Michael Hicks, and for this week's discussion board for Aviation 444, we're talking about economic fundamentals. We were asked to assume the role of the CEO or COO of an airline during an economic crisis, and what our plans would be moving forward to ensure the survival of the airline. I have chosen Virgin Atlantic as the airline that I'll be working with. There are plenty of things that can cause the economy to suffer. Prime examples would be terrorist actions. For example, 9/11. When that happened, all aircraft were grounded. Granted, it was a short period of time, but it did have a significant financial impact on the aviation industry. Health pandemics. Most recently, COVID-19. That was a global pandemic, and it had devastating effects on the aviation industry. And then widespread natural disasters. One that I could think of would be the super caldera underneath Yosemite. If that decides to erupt, it's going to spew toxic gases and ash clouds, and it's going to spread over a very large area. And it's been discovered that flying through volcanic ash clouds with an aircraft is bad both for business and the aircraft, because the aircraft will most likely crash. So, how can the company survive an economic downturn? First, there would be furloughs or route restructuring, and either increasing or starting a cargo operation with the airline. Those would be my first 3 points to look at. Less likely would be damp leases of our aircraft to other companies, or exploring leaseback options for the aircraft currently in our fleet. So furloughs, it's usually the first thing that companies look at. It's the quickest way to cut some costs, because aside from fuel and oil expenditures, along with the cost of the aircraft, the next most expensive item is salaries for aircrew. So we can furlough some employees to give us some breathing room and allow us to have a little bit more operational money. Now, instead of just cutting the employees loose and wishing them best of luck in their next endeavor, Virgin Atlantic, during COVID, they actually created pools for the employees that they furloughed. And they said when the economy starts coming back, they would be hiring employees from those pools first, which is exactly what they did. And they also gave them pay raises to boot. So if it worked before, it'll probably work again if we need to. Route restructuring, we need to look at all of the routes that we're currently taking and see if they're still economically viable. A route that was very profitable before now could be an absolute waste of time and resources. So we'd have to look at that and adjust accordingly, whether it's stopping the routes altogether or reducing the number of flights and aircraft operating those routes. We could also look into cargo operations, since leisure and business travel is probably going to be reduced drastically. We're not going to be carrying as many passengers, but people are still going to want their stuff. So we could use the aircraft that we have and do cargo operations. And American did that during COVID. They reopened their cargo-only flights, which hadn't been active for over 35 years. And they started doing cargo-only flights. It started with one flight from Dallas to Frankfurt. And no pun intended, but it really took off. They started then doing flights to Hong Kong, Shanghai, Beijing, and Seoul, delivering medical equipment, mail, clothes, and other types of goods. And in September 2020 alone, they had 1,000 cargo-only flights and 1,200 passenger flights that offered cargo services. So that's our proof of concept. We could use our aircraft to either do cargo-only flights, or if that is unlikely, we could use our aircraft with a low load factor, and we could sell the unused space for cargo operations. Now, less likely is going to be leasebacks and leasing. For example, if we had aircraft that we could lease back, we would sell our aircraft to a lessor and immediately lease it back. Now, that would give us an influx of cash, which would be greatly needed. And it would also remove our financial responsibility for maintenance, which would also help reduce monthly burdens. Now, leasing our aircraft to other companies for cargo operations, if we do a damp lease, that would include our aircraft, our crew, and we would be responsible for maintenance, but we wouldn't be responsible for the fuel costs. So that's a plus, but if the economy comes back quicker than we anticipate, we're going to be losing revenue because the aircraft we've leased out can obviously make more as passenger carriers than cargo carriers. So it's something to look at, but not necessarily the best thing to look at. Thank you for your time during this presentation. All information that was gathered was used with these references. Thank you.